Lost in Japan, a Shoto Todoroki ex-listener fanfiction. In this fanfiction, there are no quirks and UA is instead a college. The captain announces that your plane is about to land. You fasten your seatbelt as told. Looking out the window, you see the beautiful Japanese landscape. There were a lot of blooming cherry blossom trees since it was still spring. This was your first time ever being in Japan. The reason being that you were an exchange student who was planning on staying there forever. You didn't have much stuff with you. All you had was your money and a suitcase with clothes and other necessities. For college, you were going to be staying in the dorms anyway, so it didn't really matter. As the plane landed, you looked up the route to the school. It wasn't that far, so it wouldn't take too long. You could probably walk there. It took a couple of minutes before you could exit the plane because of the amount of people there. When you finally got out, you stood in the hall all by yourself. It was a bit overwhelming, but you decided not to let it get to you. Walking out of the airport, you spot some buses that were ready to leave. One of them had a sign above it saying UA College. You ditch the idea of walking to school and decide to take the bus instead. The second you got inside, the doors closed and the vehicle drove away. You sigh in relief of still making it in time. You decide to post a quick update on your Instagram so your family and friends could see that you were safe. After listening to some music and checking Instagram, the bus stops and you see a massive building with the letters UA above it. Well, I guess this is it, huh? You sigh. You grab your suitcase and bag and head over to the doors. When you stood in front of the doors, which were huge by the way, a really tall man walks out. Ah, another new student. Follow me, young one, he said. Oh, okay, you stutter. You follow the tall man who introduced himself as Toshinori Yagi, or All Might. He leads you over to a building with one A on it. The building seemed small compared to the actual school, but it was still very large. These are the dorms. This is where you'll be staying. He hands you a schedule and then walks off to help another newcomer. Well then, I should head in and find my room. Stepping into the building, you see a lot of different faces. Some of the people there took a quick glance at you, but then continued what they were doing before. A green-haired boy walks up to you with a bright smile. Hello, my name's Azuku Midoriya. What is yours? Mine's YN. Nice to meet you, Midoriya. After introducing yourself to a couple of others, you follow a girl called Suyu to the girl's dorm. Walking into the room, you toss your bag on the ground and start pondering about what stuff you should put where. After a few hours, the room was finally to your liking. You could smell food coming from downstairs, so you headed back to the common room. Whilst eating, you made sure to check your schedule so you would know exactly where to go when classes started in a few days. Then you just went to sleep since you were really tired from your flight. After attending the school for a couple of days, you knew exactly where every class was, and you barely had trouble finding where you had to go. When you woke up a few mornings after arriving at UA, you got ready and decided to pick up some breakfast from a local cafe. You headed out and picked up a bagel and some coffee. You strolled through the city for a little while, just exploring it. At some point you realized you had forgotten where to go and started to panic. Shoot, how am I supposed to get back? You questioned yourself. You attempted to open Google Maps, but to your dismay, on the screen appeared the text, "No service." Oh no, how am I going to find my way back? You scream inside of your head. You were frantically running around the city to find a map of some sort, until you bump into someone. Oh my god, I am so sorry, you exclaim. When you looked up, you were staring into two multicolored eyes. It's no problem, man, the person says with a blush. Oh hey, Shoto, you stammer. Shoto stretches out his hand and helps you up. I'll walk you back to the dorms, he suggests. Sure, thanks. He grabs your hand and the two of you walk back. You pass by a viewing point, and Shoto gently guides you over to it. You stand next to each other and take a minute to look at the scenery, until you feel Shoto turning your face towards his, until they were mere inches apart. You know, ever since you stepped through the doors of the dorms, I started liking you more and more, to the point where I love you. Whenever you're around, it brightens my day, and when you smile, it warms my heart. The moment he finished that sentence, your entire face turned as red as it could have possibly gotten. Without thinking, your lips connected with his, and you kissed him, his face turning just as red as yours.